Welcome students. Today we are going to have a detailed discussion cum analysis of the poem Fable by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And as you know, this poem is included in lesson 2 of your class 10 English textbook Bliss under West Bengal Board of Secondary Education. So the poem Fable by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Now before we start, let's know some facts about the poet. Ralph Waldo Emerson was born on 1803 and he survived till 1882. He was an American essayist, a lecturer, a philosopher and a poet. Emerson was the son of the Reverend William Emerson, a Unitarian clergyman and a friend of the arts. The son inherited the profession of divinity, which had attracted all the ancestors in direct line from the Puritan days. In 1811, Emerson's father died and he was left largely to the care of his aunt. In 1812, Emerson entered the Boston Public Latin School, where his juvenile verses were encouraged and his literary gifts got recognized. Emerson wrote on a number of thoughts, never supporting fixed philosophical beliefs, but developing certain ideas such as individuality, freedom, the ability of human being to understand almost everything. Some of Emerson's famous poems include Concord Hymn, Brahma, Song of the Soul, etc. Besides, he wrote a number of essays titled Self-Reliance, Friendship, Experience, etc. Now, before we start, I think we should know what is called a fable. Students, a fable is a traditional short story that teaches a moral lesson, especially one with animals as characters. Aesop's fables, Panchatantra, etc. are some of the fables. Now, if I'm not wrong, this definitely brings before you certain characteristics of tales. But dear students, you must know that there are some definite differences between tales and fables. So why don't you take a look at that? You must know that a fable is a short fiction giving a moral lesson at the end, whereas a tale is an imaginary fiction created primarily to provide entertainment, especially to kids. In a fable, the characters are animals, inanimate objects or forces of nature. However, in a tale, the magical characters such as elves, giants, fairies, etc. are found. The main aim of a fable is to provide entertainment along with a moral lesson to the audience, whereas the main aim of a tale is to take the audience to a beautiful fantasy world providing entertainment. Some of the famous fables are the Aesop's fable, the Buddhist fable, stories of Panchatantra, etc. Whereas Cinderella, the Beauty and the Beast, the Frog and the Prince are some of the best known tales. So let's read out the poem Fable by Ralph Waldo Emerson. The mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter Little Prig. One replied, "You are doubtless very big, but all sorts of things and weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a spear. And I think it no disgrace to occupy my place. If I am not so large as you, you are not so small as I, and not half so spree. I will not deny you make a very pretty squirrel track. Talents differ, all is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forest on my back, neither can you crack a nut. So let's know some word nest. You will find a word quarrel, that means content, যাকে বাংলায় আমরা ঝগড়া বা বিবাদ বলে থাকি. There is a word called former, that means thing or person mentioned earlier, অর্থাৎ আগে উল্লিখিত. You will find a word latter, that means mentioned latter, অর্থাৎ পরে উল্লিখিত. There is a word called prig, that means person who pretends morally superior, যাকে বাংলায় আমরা নীতিবাগীশ বা সবজান্তা বলে থাকি. There is a word called bun, that means squirrel, অর্থাৎ কাঠবিড়ালি. There is a word called sorts, that means kinds বা ধরন. You will find a word sphere, that means atmosphere, অর্থাৎ গোলক বা পরিবেশ. There is a word called disgrace, যার অর্থ dishonor oblique shame, that means নিন্দা বা লজ্জা. There is a word called spree, that means lively and active, অর্থাৎ তৎপর বা জীবনী শক্তিতে ভরপুর. There is a word called deny, that means disagree, অর্থাৎ অস্বীকার করা. There is a word called track, that means ways, footpath, অর্থাৎ পায়ে চলা পথ. You will also find a word called talent, that means skill or genius, অর্থাৎ প্রতিভা বা কর্মদক্ষতা. There is a word called wisely, that means judiciously or discreetly, অর্থাৎ জ্ঞানী সুলভভাবে বা ভেবেচিন্তে. And you will also find a word nut, a very common word, that means a kind of hard-shelled seed, অর্থাৎ শক্ত খোলাযুক্ত বাদাম. So let's sum up. There had been a quarrel between a mountain and a squirrel, and the mountain called the squirrel as someone who pretends morally superior. The squirrel admitted the mountain to be very big, but carefully reminded the mountain that it takes a lot of things to complete a year and a spear. Therefore, it should not be unnecessarily proud. The squirrel also admitted that it knew its strand well and had no problem with that. It carefully reminded the mountain that the mountain might be big, but not as small and energetic as the squirrel. Thus, they both are unique in their own way. The squirrel then admitted that the mountain could definitely make suitable track for a squirrel and might also have the ability to carry forest on its back, but strongly reminded the mountain that it could not do a simple task like that of cracking a nut. So, the key message of the poem? The poem describes a conversation between a squirrel and a mountain. The squirrel points out that in this world, every being, living or non-living, big or small, however simple or trivial it may be, have their individual reasons for existence. Let's know a few more aspects to consider. Emerson tells us not to judge others and try to understand that people unlike us also have qualities that we don't have. Emerson also points out that we all are unique and we all have different abilities. Not one of us should humiliate the person next to us just because he is different or has some larger abilities. The dialogue between the squirrel and the mountain conveys to us the message that just because someone or something is larger, it does not mean it is more significant than another. Likewise, just because one is small does not make them insignificant. Everyone shares a purpose on this planet and have their individual reasons for existence. So let's know a brief summary of the poem. The mountain and the squirrel quarreled. The mountain called the squirrel Little Prick. Hearing this, the squirrel replied that the mountain was undoubtedly big, but he argued that every big thing like a year or the earth is created by small elements like seasons or various small things. So, he was not ashamed of his smallness or position. In favor of his argument, he said that he might be small, but the mountain was also not as energetic and lively like him. The squirrel admitted of his inability to carry forests with squirrel track on his back, but on the other hand, the mountain also could not crack a nut like the squirrel. As told by him, everything or creature has its or his distinctive role to play in this pattern of creation. Some critical aspects to discuss, which will definitely help you to understand the poem better and also to make answers. You will find certain words called all is well and wisely put. Now what does it mean? This sentence means that everything has got its importance and nothing is pointless. God has created all of us because of some reason. We may not see everyone's quality, but that doesn't mean that they don't have a quality. God made us such that we are dependent on each other and cannot do without each other. Secondly, you will find how does the squirrel defend itself against the big mountain. The squirrel defends itself against the big mountain by saying that although it is small, it is more lively and energetic. If it cannot carry forests on its back, neither the mountain can crack a nut. They both have different talents. Now, would you call this poem a fable? Give reasons for your answer. I would call it a fable because this poem teaches us that each person has his or her own individual talents and everyone or everything has its purpose. No one is superior or inferior in this world. The squirrel in this poem showcased its talent and stated that God has put all the creatures in its proper place and all of them carry different talents. Therefore, we should not underestimate any creature on the basis of their size. Now, in what ways do you think a small creature like a squirrel is important to a forest? And how is a forest helpful to a squirrel? Squirrels help the forest in renewal by helping in the dispersal of seeds. Squirrels collect nuts and store them in their burrows. Some seed that are left behind grows into new plant. Similarly, forest is helpful to a squirrel by providing it with food, shelter, and a pretty squirrel track. Now, I hope you all have got a good hint of this poem. So now let's do some activity task. So at the very beginning, we will start with some MCQs, that means multiple choice questions. In each of the questions, you will find 4 options and you have to choose only one. By the word farmer, the poet here means there are 4 options: the mountain, the forest, the squirrel, and the poet himself. By the word latter, the poet means the mountain, the forest, the squirrel, the poet himself. According to the squirrel, everything in this world is put practically, ignorantly, wisely, or foolishly. The mountain can carry dash on its back. You have to fill in the dash: forests, squirrel, creepers, rivers. Question number 5. From the poem, we come to know that the squirrel is jealous, confident, nervous, or afraid. Cracking a nut is a dash, difficult job, simple job, heavy task, or none of these. For question number 7, according to the squirrel, the mountain has different kinds of dash: genius, merit, talent, or intelligence. Question number 8, the squirrel argues that all factors must be dash together: given in, put in, taken in, or kept in. Question number 9, the bun in this poem refers to the mountain, the forest, the squirrel, or the poet. The kind of story that teaches us a moral lesson is a tale, a fable, a drama, or none of these. Now activity task 2. These are called the SAQ questions, that means short answer type question. Question number 1. Who had a quarrel between themselves? Question number 2. What is the meaning of the word prig? Question number 3. What doesn't the squirrel deny? Question number 4. What cannot the mountain do? Question number 5. What does the squirrel mean by all is well and wisely put? Question number 6. What is the squirrel doubtless about? Question number 7. What, according to the squirrel, must be taken in together? Question number 8. What doesn't the squirrel think it to be disgrace? Question number 9. What can the mountain make as told by the squirrel? And question number 10. How will you describe the squirrel in this poem? Now activity task 3. These are called LAQ, that means long answer type question. Question number 1. Make a list of the things that the mountain could do. Question number 2. What does the squirrel tell about itself? Question number 3. How will you describe the squirrel? Question number 4. How, according to the squirrel, should two things be compared? And question number 5. How did the squirrel conclude his argument? Now activity task 4. Fill in the chart with information from the text. Now there is a chart called cause and effect. Somewhere the causes are written and you will have to write down the effect, and for some questions the effects are written and the students need to write the causes. Question number 1, that is written in the effect portion. The mountain called the squirrel little prig, and you will have to write the cause. For question number 2, the squirrel does not think it disgrace to occupy his flesh, and students need to write the cause of it. For question number 3, in the cause portion there is written the mountain is very large in size and students need to write the effect of this. For question number 4, the squirrel is very small in size. This is written in cause portion and students need to write the effect. For question number 5, the squirrel is wise. This is written in the effect portion and the students need to write the cause of it. So, alright students, I hope after having this session you have understood the poem quite well, but I will advise you to read the text again and again for better understanding. Dear students, always remember that nothing can be taught, but everything has to be learned, and there is no substitute for self-study. Thank you very much. Thank you all for your patience. Wish you all the very best for your coming days.